To order at 5:30 p.m. This time we have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Pastor Ramsey.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Ramsey. At this time, we will open the floor for public commentary. No public commentary. All right. This time we'll move on to our reports. I'll reserve my report until the first meeting in November. Report from Commissioner Peebles.
No pressure, right? First commissioner report in the new building. So I just want to say that sorry I couldn't make it to the awesome events that the city put on last week. I was up in Virginia Beach doing risk management for hovercrafts for the Navy, so that was pretty cool. Be honest though, I'd much rather have been here. One interesting thing though is that where my hotel was at, the little area where my hotel was at, was in Lynn Haven, Virginia. So I thought that was pretty cool. This city of Lynn Haven is way better though, by far. But I just thought it was crazy what are the odds of that. But that's all I got today. I'm really excited to be here in the new building. It looks fantastic. I took some extra time to look at more stuff today, and it's awesome. So thank you for everyone that made that possible, present, past, and the people that are continue to have this building be awesome. So, and that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Perno.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a meeting today with the Transportation Planning Organization Subcommittee, followed by a Governor's Transit Committee meeting. Tomorrow I have a St. Joe, St. Andrews Bay Estuary Program meeting. Next week on Wednesday we have our regular scheduled TPO meeting. So a lot of the goings on are just to set up the. I know we had a presence October 2nd at the legislative meeting. Well, Commissioner, the Mayor of Callaway, Pam Henderson, she was there and spoke about the transit authority that is going to be going through the legislature. Of course, she said we only had 3 minutes to talk, but that's what's going on with the TPO right now, and the governor's transit committee was formed to help get the legislation package together for the transit authority that hopefully will get passed in the next legislative session. So the Bay County Transit will become the Bay County Transit Authority. And with that, that's all I have. And I'd like to thank everybody who helped get this building going, and all of our first responders and military. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Perno. And I do see the, estuary is really picking up. I've seen some Facebook posts with hiring new positions, like a postdoc position and things like that. So really see a lot more activity happening now.
You're going to see a lot more public presence from the estuary program going forward.
Awesome.
They just now got in the public with their recent workshops and what all over the area, because they go all the way. There are several counties, but I just think it's something that's going to really pay dividends in the future for, just to be able to have someone that's going to have people's back on controlling the interest. And it's a full effort. I mean, it's the fishery people. It's the people that don't kind of tourism wants clean waterways as well, and we want to keep our seagrass, and we want to get the East Pass open. There's several things that have to happen in order for us to continue to thrive and have people come and visit us. But we don't want to let it get away. That's why we're going to have a great estuary program.
Awesome. Commissioner Ward?
Yeah, the building is awesome. I'm ecstatic about it. I know a lot of work went into this, and yeah, thank you for everyone that was involved in it. The grand opening was just awesome, and I really don't have anything. I was hoping that Commissioner Perno would slip up and forget to thank their first responders, but yeah, thank you to staff, first responders, but I will thank our dispatchers also.
Yes.
So that's all I have.
I think they count as first responders according to Google. But that's okay. Commissioner Vandegrift.
I am also on the TPO board, the Transportation Board with Commissioner Perno. I just wanted to let the citizens know how lucky we are to be able to have two representatives from our city uh, representing Lynn Haven on that commission, because it's a very important committee for our future. I attended as a representative of the commission the awards for the art contest. That was very rewarding, seeing those kids, their excitement when they were recognized for the artwork that they had contributed. So thank you, Ms. Gaynor, for letting me do that. It was very pleasurable. Thank you. That's all I have today.
City Manager.
Before I get started, I'm going to ask Kiki if she'll come up.
Good evening. You have questions about the warrant list? Thank you very much.
Also, just like to recognize Joe Sorcy is here. He has not left us just because we moved in this building. There's still some things that need to get done, and his staff are on it. And so we'll just want to say again, thank you to Joe Sorcy, who designed this building, he and his team. Also, I'd like for Chris Lightfoot to come up and go on and talk about the backflow.
Good evening. So we did send out about 498 backflow letters recently, and that was a reminder for the folks that do have a backflow at their residence. It's time to get it inspected or installed. We did have a lot of feedback from some of the residents that did receive them. A lot of that feedback was where they stopped reading at the first sentence where it said, if you don't have a or we recognize you do not have a backflow, but it also says, or your backflow is due for an inspection. So we just want to get that message out. The backflows have to be inspected every 2 years for residential irrigation meters. They have to be inspected annually for commercial accounts. This has been ongoing since the early 90s. DEP just recently started enforcing it as it should. Governor DeSantis really backed DEP with this a few years ago. And so the cross connection programs, not only throughout Bay County, but through the state of Florida, have really been getting off the ground and being enforced as they should. So we'll be sending out more of those letters as well. We'll be answering questions from the public and hopefully getting everyone educated on the same page for the backflow program that's out there. Any questions from you all on that?
So to get it inspected, it's not the city that inspects it. They have to go find their own contractor to do it.
Yes, sir. They have to be a certified backflow inspector. We have a list of certified inspectors on our website. They can also email publicutilities@cityoflynnhaven.com and get a list, but it has to be a certified inspector to get it done.
And it's not really the city that's pushing this, it's the state
It's the
that's
state
pushing
it's
this.
actually EPA pushing DEP, pushing the municipalities.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So the trailers that are next door that we spent many years in will be moving sometime this week. You can see where they already have started to take them down. Chris has already talked about the backflow. We have 14 teams that have signed up for adult softball. I think we got together and decided that the commission needs to get together and do a softball game, and you can recruit some other folks to play with you if you like. So you may want to think about that.
If we get injured, are we under workman's compensation?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I got dibs on not being pitcher. Do not want to get drilled in the face.
So we had 145 youth to participate in our Go Gulf Coast Camp. That's a lot of youth. Sports and Rex is doing a great job of gathering together and putting in many activities for our youth in this area. The art competition was absolutely amazing. I want to thank Mowat Middle School and Lynn Haven Elementary School for submitting all of their art. They were so excited. It was amazing. We had honorable mention, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place, and parents were ecstatic as well. So it was a great opportunity for them to show their talent during Florida City Government Week. We have Florida City Government Week every year, and that is something that date and everything is decided on Florida League of Cities, and then we just put on some activities to really encourage more participation in our local government and also to educate. So thank you for all that participated in that. I'm also going to ask that Bobby Baker come up and talk about the new traffic pattern at Publix.
Evening. Can you hear me good?
No, it's not on. Doesn't seem to be on. Hold on one second, Bobby.
Test, test.
You had talking to it.
All right. We've met with the police department because we've had numerous complaints at the intersection of Publix parking lot where it goes out to 77, Petty Drive, and Malden Way. And after meeting with the police department there, it was recommended that we remove 2 of the stop signs and make it more of a thoroughfare through there. So on May 6th, we've advertised it on Facebook. On May 6th, we're going to make that change, and we just want the public to be aware of it.
November 6th.
We're going to do it.
November 6th.
Excuse me, November 6th, yes. We're going to do it extremely early in the morning, like 4:30, 5 o'clock. It'll be a Monday morning, so that traffic pattern will change on that day.
Any questions?
Which 2 stops?
So you're removing the stop signs? What exactly again?
There was a stop sign when you came off of 77 and you turn left, and it stopped the traffic right there. We're going to remove that one so they have a straight shot that does not back up. And coming out, there was a stop sign coming out from those apartments that we're going to remove it, so it'll be a thoroughfare through there. So basically, that road coming in will be a straight road all the way back to those apartments. The side streets will stop.
Right,
The way
okay.
it's going to set up.
Correct. And we also had the county to
Yes,
tweak
the
the
county
lights.
gave some more time on the turn lights, and that's helped a lot.
Okay. Thank you, Bobby. I want to thank the Rotary Club, Lynn Haven Rotary Club. Actually, they donated to the city near Mosley Drive crossings and the rails to trails. That has been, the water fountain has been installed there. So now we have a water fountain there. And also thank Rotary of Lynn Haven for donating $750 for our next Art in the Park, which is going to be pretty awesome again. And that is my report.
Thank you, City Attorney.
There we go, green light. We did have a contractors exam board meeting last Wednesday. They did recommend a revised ordinance to bring forward, and so I talked to Vicki. We'll have that, I think, for first reading in November. Hopefully to have some time, if we do a workshop prior to it, you guys can look at it and have a little more time, but maybe between November and December, we can get that updated so they can be up and running in January.
All right, thank you. Any additional questions for the City Attorney? All right, this time moving on to our consent agenda. Approval of minutes from 10/9/23 regular meeting minutes. Approval to declare truck 20 a surplus and auction off. Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ward, second by Commissioner Vandegrift. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift, Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. New business, agenda item number 10, discussion and possible approval, possible task order for Panhandle Engineering in the amount of $116,310 for Phase 4 of the legislative paving program. Mr. Baker?
Yes, this is phase 4 of our paving program. It's funded by FDOT, the legislative. It's totally funded. There's no match on the city, and this is a request for the engineering services Panhandle for the work.
Are there any questions for Mr. Baker?
And this is all being paid by a grant, right?
Correct. There's no match on this one.
All right, any additional questions? All right, is there a motion for this?
I'll motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Peebles, second by Commissioner Vandegrift. Is there any commentary from the public? City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Discussion and possible approval to award the RFQ 22.23-16-A for Information Technology Services to Electrical and Computer Resources, LLC, ECR, as the most qualified to fulfill all the requirements. City Manager?
Yes, this is just every 3 years, every 6 years, we go out to bid to have the network services for the city. Of course, ERC, who is the current vendor, won, and we're recommending that we approve them as our vendor continually.
All right, any questions for the City Manager?
So this is nothing new that we're already currently doing.
No, sir.
Any additional questions? Is there a motion for this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Ward. Any commentary from the public? City Manager, if you'll call the vote.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. Discussion and possible approval to award the bid for the Mill Bayou Bridge Utility Relocation Project to CPC Construction in the amount of $1,060,885.
So this project, as we discussed during our goal session, is hopefully the last of the Highway 390 expansion relocations for a while. This is where we have a sewer force main and a reuse main along the bridge on Mill Bayou near North Bay Haven School. This project is to widen that bridge, and we have to get our utilities out of the way for DOT to move forward with their project. We received 2 bids from this, CBC Construction and Gulf Coast Utility Contractors, with CBC being the low bid.
Are there any questions for Mr. Lightfoot?
Yeah, I have some questions. I struggle with this, and I'm sure the rest of us do. I know prior commissions have struggled with this, and reason I struggle, and I know I've already talked to Chris Lightfoot. I know I've talked to Vicky Gaynor, and I've asked a bunch of questions on this, and I'll probably ask them again just so residents can hear the answers. But it's the expansion of 390 is not a choice that Lynn Haven made. It's state road. Yet when we have to move our stuff, we have to spend quite a bit of money doing that. Do you have any idea how much we've spent so far on the 390 expansion?
I think the total number for the other phase of 390 was 5 to 8 million for water and sewer over the years.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a lot of money that we as a city could use. And I know Ms. Gaynor and the mayor have done a great job talking with state reps about this to try to change it in the future. I just think we need to continue to put pressure on the state and let them know how it impacts our city. But one of the questions I have is, what would happen if we did not approve this tonight? I guess that would probably be for the city attorney.
Chris can answer.
So if we weren't to approve this project, DOT would delay their project. They would in turn sue the city. They would win because it's state statute for us to relocate our utilities in the right of way. We would in turn have to rebid this project, I'm sure, with higher prices, and I'm sure have to pay DOT's
Yeah.
legal fees for the trouble.
Yeah, or they would do it and charge us plus interest, I'm sure.
Right. And I just want to throw this out there to the rest of the commission, and everyone to, what do you think? Do you have any ideas that we could pressure the state on things like this? The only thing I can think of is send them a letter we all sign, but I mean, how much of an impact is that going to have?
I think in pressuring the state, when we've gone over to Tallahassee as a group, or when I've gone over, individually, where I really see the pressure from the state comes is when you have 300 people there, filling those halls, filling their chambers, petitioning something, versus when you have 2 or 3 or 3 to 5. So if we're the only one out of 900 or so municipalities in the state of Florida that might be pressuring them, I'm not going to pay much attention to your pressure.
Right.
But if you have a coalition of, cities or counties that are coming together saying, hey, this is an issue, this is something we need to consider, then, and then even pressuring your legislators, our representatives, our senators. So I think it would take certainly an assertive effort among multiple groups. And maybe this is something that we would petition the League of Cities about, since they're our biggest lobbyist, is the League of Cities. And so we'll be talking with the League of Cities about this issue, seeing how they could, if it's a state statute, then that's where we really start, is how do we change that statute to be more favorable for cities. I know city manager and I've been talking about, particular statutes that we could look at and try to ask to be changed in this upcoming legislative session. So that might be a statute that we look at and see if one of our legislators or if the League of Cities would push someone to try to get that, presented as a bill to try to get it pushed through. And then that's when our letters would come in to those legislators to get it done. Because right now they're just being able to fall back on state statute and say, well, hey, this is the law. So if you don't follow the law, then these are the things that incur. So I think we start there. So let's start looking at the state statute, looking at what information needs to be changed, finding a state representative, even if it's, as I understand it, even if it's not our local state representative, it can be anyone in the state of Florida that could present that bill for us. But that's when we go to the League of Cities as well, because they have bills they're presenting that affect municipalities. Because I think what's not really being considered is that the cities that are larger, like Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando, $800,000, $1 million is a drop in the bucket whenever they have to move something. Where when you come to a city like Lynn Haven or even a smaller municipality, how it really impacts them.
Like Blountstown, Youngstown, those rural areas,
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that's where we start. We put our heads together, look at the statutes. I can follow with the League of Cities and see if this is something that they can, consider as part of the upcoming legislative session. Because this year, and we have to get on this early because the legislative session starts in January,
Right.
as opposed to March like it did last year. So we would have to, but as I understand it, we have until that first meeting in January to get something, on board for that. But they're already in committee meetings, they're already meeting, they're already discussing. So it's something I can follow up with City Manager Mr. Lightfoot on and start looking at that statute to see what changes could be made.
And keep in mind too, when we issue a right-of-way permit on a city street, we also have the same language in that for that utility provider, whether it's
Mhm.
the gas company or the cable company, whereas if we force them to move out of our right-of-way, then they have to relocate their utility as well at their cost. So going to fight the statute kind of affects us as well. But at the end of the day, whether it's paid for by the local municipality or the state, it's the taxpayer paying the bill at the end of the day on it.
And it's not just Lynn Haven, and it's not just Florida. It's nationwide. I went online and did some research on it, and there's all kinds of disputes with utility service being moved. Ever since the early days of utilities first started, there have been disputes, and there'll probably be disputes for the rest of our lives. But it's just a hard pill to swallow when you know that the state has a $20 billion surplus, not million, $1 billion surplus. And it's like,
Well, if I may,
look us up,
Mayor,
Mr. Perno.
I know that in the past we've been able to bend. Not DOT has a sympathetic ear to the municipality, and we've in the past, Commissioner Aldrin and I, and we voted no on on them wanting to take the widening of 390 from 77 to 231 out of the 5-year work plan. And because the vote was tied and it was a stalemate, but the message got to them, and at the very next meeting, Philip Gaynor was at the meeting with a contingent of DOT. They wanted to hear what we had to say, and they did reinstate that project into the work plan. It never left, but they had to hear it first. And I honestly believe that it can start with us at a TPO meeting when the DOT asks for us to talk about it, like we've done before with our traffic survey and whatnot. That we ask we ask them politely to say, hey, is there anything we can do? Because they do some far range planning. So I mean, if we can get this, they're planning for projects way out. So I mean, while they're doing that, they could allot for those expenditures in the future, hopefully. So I just think it's something to start with that as well. DOT is a very powerful, yeah. So if they could get the money for us, that'd be great. Because they don't actually fight us. I mean, the projects come in with or without us. We just have to get out of their way, and make it right. So
Yeah, that's what we discussed, I think a couple of years ago. Mr. Kitwell was standing where you are, and we said, what happens if we don't move our utilities? And it was basically, they're going to still move forward, whether we move our utilities or not. It just costs us more in the end if we don't, comply with their command. So, all right, any other questions for Mr. Lightfoot? All right, is there a motion on this?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Perno, second by Commissioner Vandegrift. Commentary from the public. City Manager, if you call the vote.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandegrift,
Yes.
Commissioner Peebles,
Yes.
Commissioner Ward,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson.
Yes, motion passed. All right, first reading only of ordinance 1137, adopting a property maintenance code. So we're not voting on this tonight. However, we will take a little public commentary if there's someone that would like to speak on this. City Manager, if you read the ordinance by title only, please.
Yes, sir. Ordinance number 1137, an ordinance of the City of Lynn Haven, Florida, adopting 2021 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, regulating and governing the conditions and maintenance of all property, buildings, and structures, providing the standards to supply utilities and facilities and other physical things and conditions essential to ensure that structures are safe, sanitary, and fit for occupation and use, providing for the condemnation of buildings and structures unfit for human occupancy and use, and the demolition of such existing structures in the City of Lynn Haven, providing for the issuance of permits and collection of fees thereof, repealing all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. All right, is there any commentary from the public? All right, no public commentary. Thank you for coming. Meeting adjourned.